Hi friends. Good morning. Okay, let's start our session today. Previously, we talked about method types in order to use the reusability concept. But in order to call the method name, we want to call by its object name. But I don't want to call the object name directly when I initialize the class. This is called as initialization. When I initialize the class, automatically my method got executed. That's what is my requirement. How to do that? Okay. But here in this case, if you want to call any method, you want to call by its instance name only. Okay. I will explain you how to automatically execute a method without calling by its instance name. In Java, if we want to implement that feature, that is called as constructor. Constructor. Let me write the theory for you. And there is another rule is constructor should have name of class name. Okay, this is about constructor. Let me create a method quickly. Let me create a constructor quickly. Since the name is constructor, it should be same name as class name. Let me create a default constructor. And let me initialize the class. I have just initialized, but I'm not calling by its instance name like co dot like that. I'm not calling the method name called constructor. What I am doing, I'm just initialize the class, right click. If I run the program, automatically, since the class has been initialized, this method will be automatically executed. That means this constructor will be automatically executed without explicitly calling by its object name. Okay. This is a basic. There is two types of constructors. One is default constructor and the other one is parameterized constructor. Okay, initially it will be tough for you to learn this programming knowledge since you are from non-IT background. Okay, slowly you will get to be used to this. Okay, all these things are not used in the Selenium, but if you learn this concept, if you have these examples, it would be good for you. Okay. Okay, this is the default constructor with do not having any arguments. You can see there is no arguments here, but now I'm going to create one more constructor which having arguments. I'm just doing a sum operation. Suppose if I want to execute that, I would like to create a new constructor. I would like to initialize the class by its arguments. Okay, I have initialized the class of parameterized constructor. Let me execute now. Run as Java application. You can see initially this class is initialized, so default constructor will be called, and after that we have initialized the parameterized thing. It called this thing. Okay, based on the initialization, these methods will be executed automatically without calling by its instance name. Please see the class for 2 minutes. After that, in the middle, if you have any questions, ask me. After that, I will go to next topics. Yes. In this constructor 20 comma this thing, we are passing parameters to this constructor. That's why this constructor is called as parameterized constructor. Okay, fine. Let me move to next topics about arrays. Right click, new class. Now I'm going to discuss about arrays in Java. What is the need of arrays in Java? Since we have data types, what is the use of data types? To store some values. But if I want to store some n number of values, then what to do? Then there is a concept called arrays in Java which can store so many values. Let me open the data types example here. You can see here integer or char, anything which is storing only single value. Okay, only yes, only this value, only 100 here. Like this, if I want to char, if you want to store large number of items which is of similar data type, then we call it as an arrays. Array index starts with 0. Syntax of an array, if you want to declare a syntax for an array, this is the syntax. Array type, instance name equal to new array type of size. Sometimes you won't give size, it's optional. Okay, this is the syntax and this is about array in theoretical. Let me go ahead and show you in practical way. As I said, array type means it's a data type. You can call string array, char array, integer array, like that. There is two ways to create an array. Initially, I will explain you easiest way so that you can understand. Suppose if you want to create a string array, the array type is string. Instance name, here we want to have braces since it's an array. String array, any instance name you can take. I am taking just str equal to new string of 2. 2 is the size. Okay. Now if I want to add values, you can add like this: str of 0 equal to some value, str of 1 equal to some value, str of 2 equal to some value. Like that, you need to enter the values. But how to print it? I don't want to print one by one. I would like to have only one statement so that I can print the whole names. What to do? As we already discussed in loops concept, if we want to iterate with n number of times, we want to have some loops. Okay, let's take a loop, for loop here. Basically, as you know, for loop consists of, let me show you the loops concept. Yesterday we have discussed. For loop, it's initialization, condition, increment or decrement operator, and it will print. In the same way, here for taking the condition, initially you want to get the length. How many things are there here? Okay, length will be there in integer. It will start with 1. How to take? There is a function called length. By using that, you can take the values. And now for int I equal to 0, initialization, and condition I less than or equal to len minus 1. Since length starts with, length means it starts with 1, but index starts with 0. That's why we want to do minus 1 here always, and increment the I every time. And this out, just I will place str of I. Then what it will do? Initially I equal to 0. 0 length means I will print out the length also. Sys out len. Let me execute this so that you'll get to have some small idea of all this. Index out of bound exception. Here 2 means only 2 values. How many values I have assigned? 3 values. Just comment this third value and let me execute again. You can see the length of the array is 2 and initially 0 less than or equal to 2. It went to the block str of 0. Whatever the value which is there in str of 0, it will print. Again increment I plus plus. I plus plus means 0 plus 1 equal to 1. 1 less than or equal to 2, it printed. Like that it will go move on. Run as Java application. Now I have just changed the condition. You can see only Rakesh is been printed since I have kept less than, okay, equal to, so that 0 less than or equal to 2 minus 1 equal to 1. 0 less than or equal to 1 passed, and again 1 less than or equal to 1 passed, again incremented 2 less than or equal to 1. Since it is failed, it is not executed. Like this, these values will be printed. Okay. There is second method of calling it. Second method. Practically, when we are directly implementing, we will implement like this. Suppose if I previously I have previously I have explained with the concept of string array. Let me explain the second method with integer array. If you want to create integer array type, any instance name equal to new array type, you can declare size. This is one matter, this is one type, this is first type, and directly also you can assign some values like this. 6, and if you want to print an array, simply initially you want to take length. Once you have taken the length, you can iterate with for loop. Since I have already used I am taking j, and the condition will remains the same. Since length starts with 1, array starts with 0, we want to do -1 and increment it. Sys out in of j so that it will increment. Next, run as Java application. You can see this is the first method once, this is the second method once. But since in the real time, we will work on the second method, because by growing experience, you should work smart. Okay, but when you are freshers, you can go ahead with the first method. When you have got some experience, you can go ahead with second method. I will explain you with string example also. String array equal to sr equal to, as string will be in double quotes, we will place it in double quotes. Take the length, same, iterate with the same policy. Insert in the condition, taking the length, making length -1, incrementing it. Run it. You can see Rakesh Hi is printed. If you want to print in reverse order, just change the condition. You can see hi Rakesh is printed. In reverse order it will be printed. Just whenever you want to just change the conditions only. Basically it will execute like that. But if you are taking from reverse order, it will be a decrement operator. If you are taking from forward order, it will be increment operator. Okay, I suggest you take a look for 2 minutes. Okay, this is called a single dimensional array. Single dimensional array. Okay, once you completed this thing, I will go ahead with 2-dimensional array. But if you understand this, then only I will go for 2-dimensional array. Please see it and ask me if you have any queries. Okay, let me go ahead and explain 2-dimensional array. These 2-dimensional arrays, whenever we want to, in Selenium, there is a framework called data-driven framework which reads data from an external source file. We can take majorly as Excel. As you know, Excel contains of rows and columns. Okay. In order to automate those rows and columns, we can implement this 2-dimensional array. Anyways, I'm going to cover at that time. But as of now, I will cover now how to implement 2-dimensional array in Java. String, this syntax also will be similar to that. Syntax. Array type. Which concept, since it is 2-dimensional, concept to instance name equal to new array type of size is here. Okay, this is one pro forma. Suppose there is a string 2-dimensional array. Instance name equal to new 2 2. I means 2 rows, 2 columns like that. After that, if you want to add, how to add? Simply the first method 0 1. In our lower classes, we studied about matrices like this 0 0. 0 1. 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. Okay, this is how we can store the values. In order to pick the values, it will be also the same. Simply we want to take the length. Since it is two-dimensional array, we want to have for inside for. Let me explain that. Q less than or equal to I2 length minus 1 Q plus plus. Inside I want to have another for loop to print two-dimensional like that. Int W equal to 0, W less than or equal to I2 length minus 1 W plus plus. In the similar fashion, we will print it, the values. S2 of Q of W. Initially 0, 0, S2 of 0, 0, V is printed. Next we can change the values. Right click, run as Java application. You can see we are learning Java is printed. Initially 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, like that it will print. Suppose if you want directly only one value, then I want to print only one value multiple times, then directly you can give the indexes so that now learning will print 4 times. You can see learning, 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 learning. Since we have directly given the index and iterating with the loop. Okay. If you want all, we want to go ahead with this approach. This is about two-dimensional array, first method, and the second method is also very similar. If you want two items, then the superclass array is called object array. The super class is called the object class for all of them. Instance is different, object is different. Some name equal to 1 comma true. 2 comma false. In this way also we can define two arrays, two data types. But if you are using int array or string array means only strings, int array means only integers. If you want two items to be placed into an array, then you want to go ahead with super class called object array. Okay, this is how you want to play with these things. Okay, please see for 1 minute. But the thing is, if you want to store similar data items, we want to go ahead with arrays. If it is a string, it will store only string values. If it is an integer, it will store only integer values. But when there is some requirement to store multiple data values, you need to go for super class thing called object. These are called subclass sub things of that object. You can use this. Okay, please see for 1 minute. We can ask queries about arrays. This is all about arrays. Okay, after that I will explain a concept called exception handling. Exception handling. What is meant by exception handling? In the sense, previously when we are inserting third value, what we are getting? We are getting some exception. Okay, let me show you how the exception look like. Suppose I would like to have a method how to call simply by using exception. Simply by we want to call by its instance name eh.print value. Now let's run the program. Run as Java application. You can see exception in thread main java.lang.arithmetic exception by 0. Even Ramanujan also can't save this because 1 by 0 will be automatically not divisible. Okay, but how to handle this? I don't want to see these types of exceptions, and let me explain something more. You can see initially I am initializing and I am going to this method. I got the exception. That means exception in the sense which halts the current execution. It is not going to print this. Okay, exception means which halts or stops the execution of program is called the exception. But if you don't want to halt or stop the program, if you want to continue it, we want to, in Java we have a mechanism called exception handling. We can achieve in two types. One is try catch, other one is throws. We can handle in two ways. One is try catch and the other one is throws. Let me use try catch here. Try whatever the block which we will want to handle, want to place under try block. Whatever the things which we want to handle, we want to place under catch block. The super class is exception E. We want to create an instance and we can handle the code here. Now run the program, right click, run as Java application. You can see I am not getting any exception in the console. I am getting here I got the exception, I catched the exception and I'm handling it. I have written some code and it is not stopping my program, it is executing. I have handled also, but without try catch we will get some exceptions. Okay, this is how we want to handle. But if you don't want to use try catch, simply you can use a keyword called throws exception, and you can also do it like that. But at a time you can use throws exception or try catch. If you want to handle, you can go ahead with try catch. If you don't want to handle, you can use throws exception. Okay, this is one type. And if you know the particular exception type, you can directly go and handle that particular exception. Since we are getting arithmetic exception, I can directly use that, or if you don't know anything, directly you can use super class for all exceptions called exception. Now right click, run as Java application. You can see since it is there, it is arithmetic exception, we are getting to here and arithmetic exception is printed, but I'm getting different exception. str, I'm creating an array of string type. Since it is only one value, I'm assigning two values. We'll get some exception to get some exception. Right click, run as Java application. Arithmetic exception I have handled. Since initially here itself we got an exception, it went. But if you want to handle, we can use multiple try inside tries. Try. Here I am getting exception. I would like to have a catch block. Here itself. Now run as Java application. You can see initially we got arithmetic exception. We handled it here. After that I am getting here one exception. It is, since it is not arithmetic, it went to superclass exception, handled the exception, and I have handled is printed. This is how you can handle the exceptions. When anything is not executed, if you want to execute, there is a block called finally block. If anything is not executed, also finally block will execute. Simply, if you want to don't want to get exceptions, we want to follow exception handling mechanism. And if you follow, you can follow multiple try catch blocks, try inside try, catch inside catches, and you can handle multiple catches. And if anything is not catched, then finally block will be executed. You can write the code here also. Okay, it is somewhat tricky, but you want to understand. I will explain one more time. If you have any exceptions, you can use. If you want to handle the exceptions and don't want to stop the program, you want to implement try catch block. Try, whatever the code we have, you want to place in try. And in catch, if you expect any exception, if you want to write some code, you can write in catch. Okay, this is how we can handle the exception and we can continue the flow of the program. See for 2 minutes and ask me if you have any queries.
Rakesh, this is Vijay. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, can you please give an instance where we are going to use this exception handling in Selenium? Like an
Yeah,
example kind of thing?
yeah. In Selenium, sometimes we'll do, if the page is not rendering, we'll get some exception called stale element exception. Okay, because whenever we are loading the page, you know, loading the page, right? Suppose
Right.
www.google.com, you entered, the page has been loading. That is called as page rendering, the process. Okay, and
Okay.
you went to some other page and you clicked on back button. Okay, at that time going on, you will get to find something called find element, null pointer exception, stale element exception. Okay, and
Okay.
element not found exception, I mean to say no such element found exception. At that times, if you use these things, we will not use for normal functions. At framework level, if you write wrapper classes, I will explain you how to write wrapper classes. At that time, these handlings will be done. Simply, if you don't want to halt the program, especially for that exception, you can go ahead and handle the exception. If you want to stop the program, if any exception happens, you can directly go ahead with the program.
Okay. And I have one more question. So, try and catch goes together, right? So, if uh, in the program that you wrote, there are like try within try, but there is like three catches. So, is it not an error? I believe
Yeah,
it's not. That's
this catch will belongs to this try.
right.
Okay, but we can have for one try we can have multiple catch blocks.
Okay. Okay.
It doesn't matter, but only one try block will be there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Rakesh.
Yeah, this is all about exception handling mechanism. In if you want to handle exceptions, these are the n number of ways. Why I'm telling, if I can directly straightforward say one way like try catch, this is what we can handle. But if you are going to, so if you are going to real time, this will be the procedure we want to handle. That's why practice n more times by taking the examples, you will get to know very easily. Okay, today I will explain one of the WOOP concept called polymorphism. Poly means multiple. Poly means multiple. That means occurring in multiple forms. Or if you are planning to write only test scripts, then this much Java is not important for you. Since if you want to write only test scripts, that means a test case is there. If you want to write a test script, this much Java is not required for you. But when you want to write, when you want to be proved as a framework developer, when you want to think at a design level, this much things you want to know. Okay. If you just simply want to be a Selenium script writer, then this much of Java is not important for you. But if you want to think long, and if you want to prove like a framework developer, definitely you want to learn all these things. Okay, there is two types of polymorphism. One is method overloading and the second one is method overriding. From tomorrow half we will start Selenium. Please bear with me for today. Method overloading, method overriding. Method, initially we will go ahead with method overloading. Method overloading in the sense same name with same parameters is called method overloading. That is method overriding. Please recognize same name with different parameters is called as method overloading. Same name with same parameters is called as method overriding. Okay. Same name with different parameters is called method overloading. Same name with same parameters is called method overriding. Let me implement some methods. You can see these methods are same, print name. This is called same method name. Different arguments in the sense here I don't have arguments, here I have arguments. Okay, that is the different arguments. I would like to initialize the class. Okay, dot print name. If I want to call print name, if I want to call by its print name, I can use the argumented value. Right click, run as Java application. You can see name is Vijaya for this, name is Sanjay for this. Same name with different arguments is called as, same method name with different arguments is called as method overloading. Overloading in the same name with different arguments. Same name with same arguments is called as method overriding. We'll implement the concept by using inheritance. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to explain on the first half of the class. We'll explain a few Java concepts, and why I'm explaining OOPS concepts. This is one of the OOPS concept: polymorphism, inheritance. These are encapsulation. These are called OOPS concepts. Sometimes in the interviews they might ask these kind of questions: what is meant by inheritance? How do you implement it? What is meant by method overriding? How do you implement it? Like that they will ask. Okay, that's why I'm explaining these OOPS concepts for you. Okay, that's it for today from my side. If you have any queries, ask me.